welcome back. Now if you joined me this afternoon, I was glad to have you. We were sizing a few panels. They're still laid out on the lawn. Yeah, I'm a little bit lazy, but now we've got Poseidon here and I'm loving how he's turning out. The thing about Poseidon is I couldn't help myself. I made another mix of egg tempera, and you can see, if you saw this one the other day, I just got a bit more into these darker patches, which is exactly what we're going to do today. Embarrassingly though, this is awkward. I left my egg tempera mix inside. Let me grab the egg tempera, come on back here, and let's keep hammering some fun coats on this pretty fun piece. Also, hope you like my little shelf here, an update. Inside. I bet you thought I abandoned you guys, and I did. I'm so sorry. Hey, how we doing? Okay, wild story. So I had all my stuff prepared, and I mean everything prepared inside there, and I threw it away. True story. I had all my egg tempera right there. I need to go make some more. So, usually with egg tempera, true story, it goes 1 part egg tempera into 1 part water, and then about 1 part 1 part that mixture into 1 part pigment. 1-to-1 egg tempera with water, and then 1-to-1 that mix with pigment. Now, the difference here is we're using pigment pastes in these tubes. So the pigment's actually pre-mixed into liquid. This is gouache paint that's making our pigment. So the gouache paint is very strong, thick pigment chunks, which I love. But the challenge that comes in with that is there's a little bit of guar gum in there, gum arabic. So to make the balance correct, we don't add the water in. We just go straight egg yolk. That's what this is. Straight egg yolk. This directly into gum gouache paint. And the reason why we combine those two on the surface, you see these deeper colors? That's where I've been playing, adding a bit of paint. It makes it cure slightly faster. We're on the weeks rather than the months. But guys, I'm having some real fun here. I think this piece is going some incredible places, and all we have to do is keep sending it in that direction. So hang out here with me and see where we go. Okay, first color up, I'm gonna start dabbling with some of my personal favorite, Naples yellow. This color, any painting you're doing, you can just sneak on in there and be a part of it. Now, there's a little droplet there. You're gonna see how far this paint goes. You do not need a lot. See that little dollop there? We just put the equivalent sized dollop right beside it. Just a little bit more, there we go. 1 to 1. We get the brush, come in here, mix it together just like that. See that? And now we have a buttery paint, super similar to oil paints. We don't put it on thick though, we cross hatch it. Odysseys, yes my friend. This is Poseidon, and I'm so excited to be here making him. We're gonna add some Naples yellow, and when we add the egg tempera on, we do it in these kind of strokes, one stroke after the next. No thick impasto moments, just lots of individual strokes, all trying to capture their one little moment in the overall picture. I would have liked a bigger brush. I really would have liked a bigger brush, but Shelby went and bought these for me, and these were the biggest ones they had in the store. Like 1/3 of an inch. How about that? Yes, kindness be. You got it covered. That's literally Poseidon's trident. But let me make it very clear here, team. Thank you. Let me make it super clear that we're not adding the trident in it. The trident would be over here. You can see his arm, his bicep. You can just see the elbow a little bit. That's going to be out of shot. He has that stance, and it'll cut off like that. I don't want the trident. I feel like the trident takes away from Poseidon. We always identify him with it, and I want to identify Poseidon with the way he stands, his caricature, I'm saying that wrong. His stance gives off a Poseidon vibe, and the colours and the swirls give off that watery feel. That's the plan. You started watching Chaos. You like the cinematography and the music. That's good. I'm glad you started watching it. It's an absolute treat. I don't mean to break your heart, but enjoy it as much as you can and take your time through it, because there's no season 2 coming, just season 1. And so it's really, really good. It's so good, but they're not making more of it. So enjoy it for what it is, because it's all it will ever be. And that kind of breaks my heart. If I order it real or reproduction, are we talking about this artwork here? So this one here, look, it depends. And it's entirely off what can be afforded. So real artwork can get very expensive very fast with things like shipping, certificates of authenticity, protective crates, insurance for delivery, the artwork itself, paying for the artist, paying for the materials, on and on and on the list goes. But if you get the reproduction, I do everything in my power to make sure the high quality photos of each piece are available to everyone. So if you are interested in it, for basically zero money, you can get yourself a reproduction of it that you can blow up on a canvas and make your own, which I reckon is pretty special. And I'm here if you need any advice or instruction on how to go about that. But basically, originals cost a pretty penny. They're expensive, guys. But you can have the, you can have artwork in its bright, vibrant colours for very low cost in your home. Yeah, wardrobe change indeed. So, put on some fiery, fun colours for the subscriber live earlier today. We were gessoing some panels, but look, I was going to go for a workout, to be fully honest with you. The vibe wasn't quite right, so I thought I'll use these last little bits of light to paint and put some more effort into this one here. So what you're seeing right now is the clothes I was going to work out in. I'm in a bouncy mood, I have some fun. Ooh. It's close to Zeus. It's not Zeus, it's Zeus's brother. I'm glad you're getting Zeusy vibes from it, but Zeus's brother with a blue tone over the top. I want to give you those Poseidon vibes. Now you can see here with this new mix of egg tempera, we've gone much more heavy on the pigment, and so you can see the colours popping off the surface really, really strong. I want that. I need that. If we do the weak colours, we've done the colours on it that show where the shapes need to go. Now we need to get quite bold with our color palette and allow it to really pop and lift this up. I love this bean here, but it's just a little bit in the way. I need to move around it a little bit more. Get close to the artwork, get a stroke in there. And there's these lovely flowing robes that come down over Poseidon, which may have an even slight underwater feel just because Poseidon, probably in this photo, if it was a photo, he would be underwater. What would he be doing on land? Have you heard of Epic, the musical? I think I have. Honestly, I don't mean to be a pain. I don't love a musical unless Hugh Jackman's in it. Hugh Jackman gives me trust to watch a musical. There we go. Beautiful. I just want you to know that you're my favorite girl. These strokes in here, running up this Naples yellow. So we're going to lose a little bit of definition. You guys are spotting Greek and mythology and Zeus too fast. I'm going to tone it back. We're going to put in a few more blocky, powerful strokes. And through that, we're going to get more art, more color, more expression. But we'll lose that definition of Poseidon. I'm here for it. I want that. It's the game plan. I'm here for it. Okay, let's get down into here. Right down low. See these little cross-hatching strokes? Not getting it on there too thick. Just gently allowing those colors to actually build. If we put it on too thick, this kind of paint, it's too delicate. It'll crack. We need to actually remove the egg from the mix, go into gouache only, add a bit of gum arabic to it, and then we can do some impasto textures. But right now, all we want is the saturation these colors offer, bouncing off the surface. Look at the power behind them. That's why they're here. These poppy, powerful colors. See that? Beautiful, just beautiful. That Naples yellow. Guys, that Naples yellow is stealing the show. If I was blue, green or red on this canvas right now, I'd be talking to my agent saying whatever Naples yellow is doing, we need to start copying it because it's all on. Intensity of colour. Right. We have a little bit of Naples yellow left there. We're going to use that as we move on to the next colour. Now, egg tempera sets very fast, but the gouache that we're mixing into it is water soluble. So the gouache can reactivate, but the egg tempera can't. This puts us in a weird space where if we're fast, we can keep using the paint and mixing into the next colour, but inevitably, especially with the wind around, the egg tempera is going to try and set. It's okay, it's okay. We just need to keep our pace going. Now, next colour off the ranks, I'm going to dive into either yellow or red, probably both simultaneously. We added on flame red. Now I want some primary red. What's the difference? Primary red's just a little bit colder. And I'll be honest with you, full disclosure, I added too much red on just then. So we'll just add in a bit of yellow. Perfect. Now, there's our two colours. Now I'm going to get this one a little here. Oh, of course, the ghost. It's coming up on Halloween. Coming up to Halloween. High Priestess, you'd be a Halloween girl from way back, right? Is that correct? Am I right on that one? And Steve, I bet you are too, actually. I bet you celebrate a bit of Halloween there in Hawaii. Or am I just completely off the right course? Ronald McCormick. Hey man, thanks for painting me. You're welcome, Ronald. I just woke up this morning and I was like, you know what? There's a guy out there in this big old world called Ronald McCormick, and I need to paint him. Then I had my coffee. I nodded about it some more. I grabbed a masonite panel, an oil tempered hardboard, sanded it with 240 grit sandpaper, put a coat of organic natural glue over the top of it, let that dry, then mix that same mixture in with that and 1 part marble dust. And then with that marble dust and organic natural glue, I coated the surface 8 times until it was perfectly smooth and absorbent for the paint. And then I got some eggs from out in the back paddock there, and I got these eggs from these chickens and I cracked them open and I took out the egg yolk and removed all the whites. I don't want the whites, just the yolks. And then I stabbed it with a little needle or a knife and I separated out those yolks into a cup. And once I had those yolks separate, I then brought them out and got my gouache paints, my smooth gouache pigments. And I combined the two, 1 to 1, got the paint and started adding it to the surface, 1 stroke after the next, until I thought, yes, that looks like Ronald. How'd you know? Anyway, onto the reds. These reds here, they're gonna dance everywhere, and please enjoy the saturation with me. They're gonna dance everywhere where those flame reds were, which came out those sort of more muted, darker tones. Perfect. There's no costume for an adult, there's no costume for a father, like a costume that embarrasses their children. So whether children are trying to look cool or fun or try and fit in with their high school friends, fathers are actively trying to find which costume can embarrass their children the most. While obviously making them look like, not making the kid look silly, making the father look silly, because there's a sense of satisfaction and it's fun. I get that. And I'm on that vibe too, because that's exactly what I plan to do once Cooper's old enough to get on board with that. Can you see the pop in these colors, guys? I hope it's picking up on it, because you're looking at some really intense saturation. And this red is not going to dry flat. It's going to dry with that intense pigmentation, because that egg yolk, the way it reflects light back, oh my god, it's going to make it really, really bright, as if there's a LED behind these colors making them shine. It won't be glossy, it'll just have this natural, beautiful shine, kind of like an inner beauty. It'll be unbelievable, guys. We're on the right track. I see. My dad embarrassed me too many times to count. I can't wait till it's my turn to embarrass my daughter. I'm gonna be so good at it. I'm gonna do it by accident most of the time. My lack of ability to follow a wavelength. It's gonna be comical. We're gonna have a great time. Give me a bit more. There we go. Just gorgeous. Give me those strokes one after the next. And there, up through there. I'm gonna come down here low. In here really low. I'm gonna get all these oxide pieces. You see how we're not chilling out with these strokes either? Bold, long strokes. Egg tempera, it literally rewards bold, long, but not too thick. Never too thick, just bold and long. That's so important. If you go too thick with egg tempera, I've talked about this. You know what happens? It cracks. It's too thick. You need to make sure it's on thin enough that the medium can cure. And through layers and layers of colour, that's what allows it to pop. Now, Poseidon's going to be a bit different from our other heroes, because the other one's centered around a colour, all complementary colours. Poseidon's going to be our first portrait with our 3 primaries. And I thought of something really naughty for Zeus, but I'm not sure if we're going to go down that path yet. But I've been thinking about it. My dad did laugh about it, but now all the time it was accident. yeah, accidentally in public. This is true. My favourite thing to do is pick him up from school and driving up to the front with everyone in costume. Love that. Hilarious. Yeah. But like, honestly, it's funny because on one hand it's embarrassing, but on the other hand, all the other kids are secretly watching, wishing their dad was like that. True story. Like, secretly watching, wishing their dad was like that. True story. Like, oh dear. I forgot what I was saying there. Oh, that's right. The naughty thing I was going to do. So, Zeus. You know a portrait of Zeus is coming, guys. I can't even be like, maybe. You know if we're doing Olympus, we're doing Zeus. Absolutely. But the question that comes in is, how does Zeus get done? And I know that all these portraits so far have had so much colour in them. And I love that. I love it. My naughty idea, and I don't know if I have the stomach for it. I don't know if I'm enough to do this. My naughty idea is, what if we had the whole Olympus family in vibrant, powerful colours, just screaming off these canvases with all their colours and hues and tones? What if Zeus was black and white? Now, I thought to myself and thought maybe we do that with Uranos, like, you know, Zeus's father, or Kronos, whatever his name was. I forget. My intelligence sort of starts with Zeus. Maybe we do him in black and white. I'm like, you don't even know his name that well. Why would anyone else? I think it's Kronos. So it needs to be Zeus. We all think of Greek mythology, and Zeus is the father that we start the family tree from. It goes back further, but we like it from there. What if he was black and white? Ooh. What if we do something dark? What if Hades is black on the canvas? Just stacks of carbon black, just coated everywhere on it. Look, I'll be honest with you, I like it. I like where your head's at. You know I'm not gonna do that. And I'm not going to do it because there's an element of predictability that Hades would be dark. I'd probably do Athena fully dark, or oh no, Hera. Hera would be done dark because she was always very spiteful and angry to Zeus. And she's got some horrible stories of the things she's done in the name of anger or jealousy, or maybe she goes dark. But was Kronos perfect, Icy? Thank you very much. For Hades though, you know Hades is going to be one of two colours. A whole bunch of primary yellow, or he's going to be a whole bunch of pink. Because honestly guys, reading Stephen Fry's book, you become a bit of a fan of Hades. Hades isn't such a bad guy in Stephen Fry's eyes. He got given the underworld, so he wasn't some creepy god who wanted the darkness. He got given it, and then he fell in love with the most beautiful thing on earth. I forget what her name was. Fell in love with her. She literally, and for the record, she loved him back, and she went down to the underworld with him. Once she went down there, she was like, they were together and she couldn't come back for some reason. Anyway, what ended up happening was she was allowed to return to Earth for a few months every year, but only for a few months, and then had to go back to Hades. Persephone, yes. Am I saying that right? Persephone? Anyway, she comes up, and when she comes up for those few months, that's when springtime is. And then she's back down there, and sometimes it gets construed as she goes down there because she's enslaved or captured by Hades. Nah. Persephone. Got it now. Or Persephone. Percy like the train from Thomas the Tank Engine, and phony like someone who doesn't know what they're doing. Kidding. Persephone. They were in love. They were in proper love. And that love that they had endures to this day in the underworld. Which honestly, while all the other gods got up to all their mischief, all their chaos, all their confusion, these two were pretty immune to it. And like, we always think of Hades as a bad guy because of Hercules, the Disney movie. When they're having a big party, he's not invited, no one likes him. There's no mention of Persephone there. Whereas actually, Hades was super happy staying down in the underworld. He didn't want a bar of what everyone was up to. They were all causing mischief and there was too much politics. And Persephone, she probably, if I'm just shooting from the hip, I reckon Persephone was into that. I reckon she saw Hades and like, that's a guy who doesn't do drama. He just hangs out down under there in his big old underworld mansion, and he's his own man. Probably like to read and paint. Well, I reckon they're the only two gods who are actually long-term super happy. Controversial opinion, of course. There we go. Perfect. That's enough of those delightful reds. I wonder if I can spin you around there a little bit. Can I put you there? You guys all right with there? I'm sure you'll be fine. Perfect. Okay, yellows. There's a few yellows in here. A little bit on the muddy side. I want to get a bit more of those juicy primary yellows in there. I do need, because a little bit of that yolk couldn't help but spill across the other side there. Oh yeah, no, myth is absolutely up to interpretation. In fact, that was the Greek way. What was more important than the facts is a compelling story behind it. And that's the reason why Greek mythology, over so many other ideas from that same time period, Greek mythology endured. Everyone knows it. Everyone's like, we don't believe in it as such these days, maybe not en masse, but at the same time, we still know the stories, and that's because the stories are so good. The drama of their gods, like, a lot of religions have a god who's all-powerful, all-loving, and all-knowing, and the story kind of starts and ends there, because once you're all-powerful, all-loving, and all-knowing, that's the whole picture. You're in full control. The gods in Greek mythology, they are not in control. They are running roughshod over each other. They are sleeping with each other. They're running off with each other. They're betraying. They're making new friendships. It's like an episode out of Days of Our Lives every time you turn a new chapter of the Greek Odyssey. Like, it's these guys are funny. So, big fan of the interpretation of Greek mythology. And like, a lot of my understanding of it comes from Stephen Fry, because I've read a few of the facts. Honestly, it didn't super resonate with me. It was only once I actually got it from Stephen Fry that I thought, this is funny. These promiscuous, dangerous, vindictive gods, they're hilarious. I love everything about them. I want more of them in my life. And you end up laughing out loud to these stories that you then go off and actually, they stick with you. But more importantly, the moral of each story, the lesson behind it, it stays with you. And that's the purpose of the story. And obviously it helped that they were all drop dead gorgeous. Or maybe that was just the sculptors who got super excited about the whole shooting box. We'll never know. We'll never know. But anyway, here we go. Beautiful. Paint everywhere up there. Yeah, baby. Lovely. What's really fun about this too, guys, is if you look at this picture, it's a Greek god, but what's really fun about it is the method of painting it is the old school painting method of the ancient masters. It's the same way a lot of the painters would make artwork pre-Renaissance period. So if you think of the likes of Da Vinci, Leonardo, Da Vinci was actually an egg tempera trained painter. He painted with this method. He did the Last Supper with this method. And then when oil paints came out, that was in his lifetime, he moved to oil paints. Now, that means that a lot of the pre-Renaissance paintings were made in this style. So when we get the same subject matters, and I don't say the same subject matters, I mean anything ancient and, you know, worthy of representation with iconography, and usually it could be all sorts of gods. But when we do that, but in this kind of abstract impressionist style, we get the same method of making art, and we drag it, kicking and screaming, into the 21st century and say, hey, let's get that same method of the old masters that lasts for 2,000 years, let's drag it right up here and let's bring it into the present, and let's make art like this in a way we understand it in 2024. If I painted like this pre-Renaissance, I wouldn't be here tomorrow. I'm proper crazy. Heck, even in 2024, painting like this, you're a little bit crazy, right? Try doing it 1,000 years ago. Your artist would not be tolerated. If they'd have a meeting, I wouldn't be invited. I'd be in the center of town, they'd have a big meeting, and decide what they're gonna do with me. I don't know whether I'd be able to hang around or not, but the answer among all the answers would definitely be he's no longer painting. So, lucky for me, I was born in the 21st century. Even the 20th century, guys, it wouldn't have been nice to me in my paint style, because in the 20th century we were so excited about these new mediums. Acrylic was coming in, oils were all the rage, no one was really doing egg tempera seriously. So I'd be seen as a guy who made weird, crazy art, but actually did it with a method which was outdated. Of course, now, as we talk about, it's not actually that outdated. It's a beautiful way. Miss Honey, well, I appreciate the relaxed goose. I've said this before, it's super hard to say something serious with a goose on my head, with even the connotation of being a silly goose. Look, guys, that light switched around on us. Can you bear with me? I'm gonna spin us 180 degrees. I hope that's okay with everyone. So for a moment, you're gonna see the back of the canvas, but it's all gonna be worth it. It's gonna change your life. It's gonna be so much better. Come with me. Come on around here. You can see the view for a moment. It's gonna make the colors more poppy. There we go. Put you down there. That's exactly what you can be. There we go. Welcome on in. Now I'm gonna bring on that round. This can come on around to here. Here's my little, got my water, my egg tempera mix in a cup, my mixing plate, and my paints. I'll put that down right there in front of you guys. It's all you're all good, Miss Honey. No, it's just funny. The one that gets me is the Elvis. Every time you're trying to say something, then all of a sudden you look like a Elvis, like an Elvis impressionist from Las Vegas. What are your thoughts on paint by numbers? Paint by numbers, totally fine. Bob Ross was a paint by numbers kind of guy. What's wrong with that? That's like, when you say what's wrong with paint by numbers, in the same, now I should preface this by saying I don't do paint by numbers. I do paint by wild, crazy imagination. I'm a bit nuts like that. But with paint by numbers, you could say the same thing in the music world and be like, hey, what's your thoughts on using song sheets? Sure, use song sheets. It's totally fine. It's not about getting hung up on whether you did it from improv or not. It's more about getting hung up on what are you making, how does it make you feel, are you enjoying the process? And if it's for therapy, for example, some people find amazing levels of therapy come from paint by numbers. Why would you ruin that for yourself if it was good for you? And so you always need to just assess, is this good for me? Is this healthy? is it's bringing more love into the world, and if paint by numbers is doing that, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, just really enjoy what it's bringing for you. I will be honest with you, I actually was talking to a factory about turning some of these artworks into paint by numbers pieces. So you could actually buy, say, Sensitive Stone Hercules, or buy one of the pictures with all the colours in different spots, so you could actually paint your own one. Now, funny story about that, there's a reason why it doesn't exist. It was literally so complex that I couldn't even make heads or tails of it. Turns out we just use the colours in so many places in such a crazy way that with paint by numbers, these are kind of not replicatable, irreplicable, that's the right word. So these things, and I really wanted to do that because some people find a lot of therapy in paint by numbers, but it's too much, guys. It's too much. If you want to do it, we can't do it by numbers. We need to do it by inspiration and just vitality and love. And we're going to do it with some painting courses. We're going to do it with the subscribers. It's happening. It's definitely happening. But for right now, just join me on my little wild quest that we're going on. It's going to be fun. Alex, Quizada. Yes, it is pre-recorded. This happened in advance. It's really funny actually, because I recorded this and I'm like, sometimes I ask if it's pre-recorded. So I take a punt at a name. Sometimes I go for Joe Smith, it's the most likely name. And I say, no, Joe Smith, it's not pre-recorded. In this case here, I just staged this whole yarn. I actually recorded this 72 hours ago, 3 days. And I just decided the name this time that I was gonna mess with it. Like proper mess with Alex. And yeah, anyway, I've had my fingers crossed for 3 days, hoping that I would put up this recording in 3 days time and Alex would come in and just, anyway, I'm watching Netflix on the couch at the moment, eating popcorn, and I'm just watching this replay of the live that I've uploaded, and I am losing it right now with excitement that it actually happened, because I do it like every time, a lot of names, usually misses. This time, needle threaded. Right, next colour. I think we've got enough yellow in there. We've got the Naples, we've got the orange. It kind of does the blend in between. I think primary yellow will just be too much. What I do want now, I think, is some baby blue, because there's lots of pockets in here where it'll make a massive difference. God. Let's not do the blue first. Let's start with white and let's drop a bit of blue in. And then from there, it'll empower us more for the direction we want to head in. Plus, if we do white first, it'll allow us to take the orange, sorry, not the white, off the brush. All right, here we go. Coming on in here. Voila. Janice, hello. Janice, I saw your name a few times on this morning's live, and I'm so sorry for just ignoring your comments. I couldn't see a thing on the screen. It was so blurry, and not blurry, but the sun was just streaming down in the screen. You know when you try and look at your phone when the sun's coming down too strong and you can't see a thing on it? It was like that. And so I was like, oh, I want to answer a few of these comments, but it'll just turn into a, what was that? And like, I was just like, let's just prepare these panels and then, you know, we'll come back to it. You're all good. Thanks, Janice, I appreciate that. I was worried because normally we actually do pick the lighting at a really good time. And I was like, I might actually upset someone that I actually could have put it in the blurb or something. But anyway, Sarah, thank you so much. For those who don't know, what Sarah's talking about there is this channel, the art we make here. We are 1 in 5 creators who have been nominated for Creator of the Year for the live section on TikTok. And so, first off, thanks guys, and congratulations everyone, because this is our space, we've made this happen. And second off, you can vote. You can vote once a day up until the TikTok Awards, which Steve Irwin's son is hosting, Robert Irwin. And anyway, up until TikTok Awards, you can vote once a day. And look, How cool would it be if we won? So if you want to vote, link's in the bio. Just click the link in the bio. It'll take you through to a page. You select Live Creator of the Year and then press vote. So that's how you do it. You're a champion, guys. Now, the one wild card, Seb's always coming out with a wild card, is that it only works for people in the Southern Hemisphere. Indonesia's had a bit of luck. So has a few areas in the islands and things, but it's supposed to be just New Zealand and Australia. Now I assume if it does the Southern Hemisphere, if you are one of these 16 researchers currently down in Antarctica, seeing what the ice is doing and studying the glaciers, and you're using Wi-Fi to be on TikTok Live at the moment, really irresponsible of you. You can also vote, I think, because I think it's from the equator down. And so if you are doing that, I would really appreciate your vote. You're already breaking the rules. I'm sure you've got a bandwidth limitation. You shouldn't be watching live channels. It is just very irresponsible when you're trying to save penguins and seals. But at the same time, every vote matters, so I won't look a gift horse in the mouth. Hey, thanks, Sarah. I appreciate that. Look, I hope we win too, but like I said yesterday, by getting a nomination, we've come pretty far, and that makes me really excited. I feel like even if we don't win the voting round, the fact that TikTok says, hey, there's a special space that's been created here and we want to acknowledge that is, I don't know, guys, it means a lot. It means a lot. And just voted. Thanks, Icy. Thanks, Icy. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. That's it. Every vote is going to count. I think all those creators are out there. The other 4 of them, and they'll be telling their audiences and their communities, hey, can you vote, please? Really appreciate it and things. And so it's going to be competitive. It's absolutely going to be competitive. But, like I say, the fact that each one of us 5 got to the stage, pretty cool. Pretty cool, pretty hard, pretty fun. And I like it because I can go live and just paint with you guys and talk about it. It doesn't actually get in the way of what we do here, of making this art, which is really fun. We can talk about the awards while we keep making Poseidon. And look, it'd be pretty funny if we stream at the awards. That'll make me laugh. This is a fantastic place. It's, how specific do you want me to be? I'll tell you what, I'll start general and you tell me when to stop. We're in the Milky Way. There's a little solar system in the Milky Way. And in that solar system, there's the sun. I'm not sure of the sun's exact name, but it's not a big sun. It's a medium-sized or smaller sun compared to the rest of the Milky Way and the rest of the cosmos. And that sun has a couple of planets orbiting it. It used to have more, but we turned one of the planets from being a planet into just a lump of rock. R.I.P. Pluto. And for the rest of the planets orbiting around the sun, we're on the one called Earth. Now, you don't want to get it confused with Mars. Similar size, and we might be there soon. But for now, if you're looking for us, this channel here is streaming from Earth. And then if you're on Earth, there's kind of 2 parts to Earth. There's the water part and the land part. And then you go a step further and say there's the southern hemisphere and the northern hemisphere. Now, where we're streaming from here is the southern hemisphere on the land part. So, southern hemisphere land part, and that already isolates us down to just a few spots, a couple of islands, a bit of Australia, New Zealand, and then there's Antarctica. So anyway, we're down the southern hemisphere of the land part with a couple of island masses, and we're in the New Zealand part. Smaller than Australia, I totally get it. Start with Australia, go southeast, you'll find us. And when you hit the landmass, there's 2 parts to New Zealand. 2 parts. There's a north part, just like the hemispheres, but now it's the island. The north part and the south part. North Island, South Island. Once you've got to that stage, you don't want to get mixed up here. You're so close go for the North Island. Even though the South Island's bigger, you want to go for the North Island. And in the North Island, there's a couple of big cities. There's one called Auckland. Now, if you flew here, then you didn't need any of that instruction. You know where we are. But if you flew here, you landed in a place called Auckland on an international flight. If you get to Auckland, you're going to go 2.5 hours, sometimes 3.5 of traffic, and get to a place called the Bay of Plenty, specifically Tauranga. If you make it to Tauranga, then up on a ridge, somewhere up in the hills, you'll see me. Do I do objective reality painting? Honestly, I love that people do. If you like that, if that's your thing, you do it. Be you. Never stop you from being you. But no, I don't do it. I'm not big on it. I like capturing something beyond what the camera gets. I like turning a painting into a journey. I like preparing the surface, building it up with layers, and just more importantly, not knowing what the end result's going to look like. I like the surprise of seeing where it goes as much as you guys. And if I have a preemptive plan where I think, no, it's going to end up here with this color palette, just like this, I've never made artwork like that before in my life. I need to get lost in the process. Otherwise, real talk guys, otherwise the process bores me. And if the process is boring, how are you supposed to infuse it with love, infuse it with joy and vitality? You need a process that stimulates you, that makes your heart soar. What do you actually want? Do you want a process that really gets you going, puts a zing in your step? Yeah. And like we've talked about it before, I used to do a lot of realism painting. You guys know that. I used to do a lot of realism painting, and I stopped because actually those realism works weren't because I liked realism. It was because I was, what's the word? Hubris. I was arrogant enough to think that I knew what other people wanted. To think you understand someone else's mind, to know what they are after. No, you're just so twisted and insecure about it. Actually, what you need to do is paint from your heart. Paint what's true to you, and the artwork you make will be something that actually resonates with people, because finally they'll be able to see you finally put your heart into it. You finally put yourself behind it and said, this is my emotions. I'm willing to reveal myself to you through art. And to be able to do that, it's terrifying at first. It's shameful. It's in some ways scary, because you feel like you'll be surrounded by humiliation or honestly a lack of acceptance. But then when you do it, that's not the case. You get welcomed, you get loved, because actually all humans want to see, it's like Tupac says, real recognizes real. In the same way, authenticity just wants to see authenticity. And if you can be real, you've got more of a chance of finding your people than ever before. And that's worth it. It's worth fighting for. Have I ever painted blindfolded? You know what? It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that, because I've been yarning with a few people who've been like, you should do that. And I've been thinking about it, because we sometimes do paintings where I don't really look at it. And I'm like, why don't I take this philosophy of, guys, don't concentrate on where you've been. Just concentrate on the next brush stroke. Capture what you need. We could do one blindfolded, and I could put my money where my mouth is and say that the way I paint, you don't need to see the surface. You can do it blind. And if that's the case, I would need someone to help me though. I would need either buckets of paint where I dip the brushes into, so I knew what the brush was loaded with, or someone who just keep handing me loaded brushes. I don't know. But I feel like the day is approaching where we do actually go at it blindfolded. And there'll be two parts to it. There'll be the one part that we do here on the live, because we'll do it live, absolutely. And we'll have like a couple of trials of it. So we'll have like a 10-minute go at it, then a 2-minute break. So cheating, what? We'll take off the mask, look at the painting, assess how I'm loading the brushes, how we're getting on, and then we'll put it back on and go again, leading up, kind of like stretching until you get to the splits, leading up to actually doing one completely from raw. White canvas, big white canvas, we're not going small for this. Big white canvas, brushes, blindfold on, start to finish. Can it be done? Yeah, it absolutely can be. We don't know what it requires though, and chances are there'll be some things that it needs. And when I say some things it needs, think like, you'll be like, well, how will you verify where the canvas is if you're moving around so much? It may be the case that rather than like feeling the canvas, that's annoying, we might have like little textures on the ground. So I can be like, I know where I am, and then I can strike from there. But we just don't know until we give it a go. But yes, Black Bunny, short answer is I fantasize about that, because I tell you guys, ignore every brush stroke. Do what feels right. Well, if that's the case, mate, prove it. Put a blindfold on and ignore the strokes and do what feels right and show us what a picture turns out like. Because if your philosophy is correct, if I'm right, if my philosophy's right, it should hold up while I'm blindfolded. If it doesn't, I'm wrong, right? That's how I see it. Because there would be nothing my philosophy wouldn't be able to do while I'm blindfolded. Therefore, it either works or it doesn't. Count you in? Yeah, I love that. I'm definitely going to watch that. I love that. Yeah, Eddie, 100%. And if it doesn't work, we need to sit there and go, right, where did we go wrong? And oh, look, honestly, guys, I think it might be pretty fun. I just get Kung Fu Panda Karate Kid vibes by the idea of putting on a blindfold. It's actually more of a little kid inside me coming out being like, oh yeah. It makes me feel like a Kung Fu master, that's what I'm saying. It's like on one hand, I'm like selling it as it's for the art. And on the other hand, there's just this little kid going, yeah, Kung Fu master. It's, at least he's honest, right? At least he's honest. Yeah. It'll be interesting. Yeah. And I wonder too, if you do it completely blindfolded or whether you wear a helmet, that you have a picture on the inside of the helmet so all you can see is the photo. And you have to make it. I don't know. This is why we need to experiment with these things. Who knows? Because you blindfold me and take away, we're not painting with an image right now, but if you blindfold me and take away the image, I do go a bit crazy. Like I end up going like just going too abstract. A picture anchors me around a central idea, and so the question is, if you're blindfolded, how do you get that central idea, that anchoring point? You could train on a picture. People do that. They train for a particular picture and then they show it off at a show, and so these sorts of things. But in all honesty, I think we just need to shoot from the hip. We'll see. See how we go. Updates inbound, I suppose. I'm coming out, so you better get this party started. How do you build your imagination before starting a painting? Like, how can? And thanks, Miss Honey, I appreciate that. How can you build your inspiration before you start a painting? Okay, so I was talking with someone about this on Cameo. They were writing a book about overcoming blocks and actually feeling inspiration. And I said, I feel like you don't get inspiration to go painting with. I feel like the process of painting inspires you, and that's slightly different. If you think about it like this and say, instead of getting inspiration to go paint, you don't get inspiration to do other things normally, you get motivation. And so you get motivation to go paint. And then once you're painting, the process, the colors, the actions, the picture, everything inspires you. Start with the motivation, then find the inspiration. And it's scary because it's like leaping off a ledge and not knowing if there's water at the bottom. Basically, I'm telling you, in your most uninspired moment, when you're like, I don't even know what I'm gonna paint, get the motivation to get the canvas, the easel, and the brushes in front of you. Get everything you need to do your craft in front of you. And trust, it sounds so weird to say it, but trust in that moment that inspiration will hit. And when it hits, you're away. You'll be having so much fun making art. Hey, I feel a few little raindrops coming in here. A few little raindrops coming down. I wonder if they're gonna hang around. If they hang around, obviously our picture's not very resilient to rain before it's fully dry because it's water soluble, which means if it was a Pokemon, its weakness is water. So we might have to dash off, but we'll see. There we go. I won't give up just yet though, guys. I'm going to chuck a bit of ultramarine blue into the whites, chuck some of those eggs on top of it, and then do a bit more in that background and across the right hand side of the chest. Here we go. Let's get a bit more of this. There we are. Lovely. I'm watching you paint while I'm drawing. Well, it's an honor. It's an absolute honor to be in your creative space with you, because it's a private space and it's a special space, and you're in mine and I'm in yours. Yeah, you have a good one. Thanks for joining. I'm back. I went to get ice cream. Good for you. Hope it's yummy. You know, I used to, when I was younger, I used to love Goody Goody gumdrops, but as time went by, sort of fell out of love with Goody Goody gumdrops and started to love rum and raisin. But I don't like it just the way it is. I like to get rum and raisin and then add a bit of extra of the first part in there, and then it gets really fun. Seb, speechless. This is amazing. Hey, thank you very much. This is Poseidon, and I'm having some fun here. Vibrant, popping colours. I've got 4 canvases out there, and if things go my way and my inspiration and motivation doesn't change, as you've seen it do a million times, we're going to keep going along with the Olympian family. And we've got Zeus, we've got Hades. Oh, I'm just so excited. It's going to be a whole thing. All right, to get motivation and finding the inspiration every day is like crazy. I'm amazed. Look, everyone has their own process, and the worst thing that you can do is run with comparison. Yes, look around for inspiration and look around for help and advice and feedback, but comparison kills creativity. And if you let that come into your art form, that comparison will stop you from being original. Be you. Look around, find what you like, but then stop looking at the horses running beside you and do what matters to you. And if you do that, you won't have those same amount of blocks, that same amount of effort. God, so much effort comes from comparing yourself to other people. It's exhausting. G'day Jay, welcome in. And are you an art teacher? No, I'm not. And I saw a comment there about Whitecliffe. Do you know any lecturers who work at Whitecliffe? No, I don't. I was considering Whitecliffe back when I was 18, going to university. It was between Whitecliffe and Massey Fine Arts in Wellington. I went for Massey Fine Arts in Wellington, and I'm forever interested in what would have happened if I went to Whitecliffe, but it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be. But no, I've got friends who are artists all over the world, and I've connected with them via social media, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. Okay, it's raining. We're out of here, guys. Love you lots. Look after yourselves. Until next time. This has been really, really fun. Bye, team.